The first round is crucial in fantasy football. You have to get it right because if you miss or if you have a player that busts, you're not likely to go far. Even if you make the playoffs, it's going to set your season up for a disaster. So basically, in this video, we're going to talk about everything you need to know in terms of the first round, who to target, who to avoid, and who I expect to absolutely go on a absolute breakout season. Because you look at a lot of these names, we'll talk about the 1 through 12 listed on Fantasy Pros, and I'll also list a couple of names that I believe are names that can be fringe first round picks. But just starting at the top, Ja'Marr Chase, Puka Nacua. I feel like early first round, you should be taking one of the top running backs. Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs, Christian McCaffrey, and obviously backing those up with handcuffs. You don't want to draft like McCaffrey and be like, I got burned, he got hurt again. And personally, I'm out on McCaffrey because I just don't trust him to, one, stay healthy, but also you can't take that risk saying, I just don't trust him because he's going to get hurt. Because if McCaffrey is healthy, he's likely the number one player in the league. However, back-to-back seasons, a lot of touches, 100-plus receptions last year, so that's where it could get bad. And looking at the 49ers offense, just to stay on McCaffrey for a second, that offense brought in Mike Evans, Christian Kirk. I know he's hurt right now, but there's a lot more weapons to throw the ball to. Last year, there's a lot of injuries to the receiving corps. So let's start with Ja'Marr Chase up top. I love Ja'Marr Chase this year, and I'm probably just going to go through the list at two at a time. So Ja'Marr Chase, Puka Nacua, these are the seasons I'm expecting them to have. Again, hopefully, we'll knock on the table for them. Hopefully they stay healthy. I mean, both these players have had injuries. I mean, injuries are just part of the sport. But Ja'Marr Chase, very safe player. The only thing that scares me is he's going as the first guy off the board. Puka Nacua, also very safe. So you can't really go wrong with any of those. My favorite receiver in the first round is probably Justin Jefferson, just because he's so late, and you could probably get him late in the first round. My favorite pick is probably around pick 10 to 12 range in the first round. As far as the two running backs, Bijan Robinson is very safe, 200. He's going to have a lot of carries, a lot of yards. Tua just got hurt, so if he was at the quarterback, he's probably going to see a bigger reception season than this. But at the same time, Gibbs is also that guy. No Montgomery. Pacheco's going to be doing a lot of stuff. So this is just to give you an overall idea on Jahmyr Gibbs. So before I overwhelm you with all the numbers and stats that I kind of put out there, let's kind of go through the tiers, right? So tiers 1 through 5, I would not consider Jackson Smith-Njigba a safe first-round pick. And the reason why is he just had close to an 1,800-yard season last year. You know the Seahawks offense is going to be a little bit worse considering they lost Kenneth Walker. They got a rookie running back. Not that that's a bad thing, but you lose your offensive coordinator. There's a lot of things that could go wrong for a season that a receiver had that he was absolutely on fire for. So if I had the first pick, I would probably go Gibbs, Bijan, Chase, Puka. But at the same time, I'm not a big fan of making that first overall pick because it's really just a matter of I'd rather have a later first round pick just because of how many great running backs there are in the second round. So tier 2, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Christian McCaffrey, CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson, Drake London, Jonathan Taylor. The guy that really stands out to me is Amon-Ra St. Brown. He had like 170 targets last year. He got the workload in the first year without Ben Johnson in that offense. McCaffrey, we know what he can do when he's healthy. Like I said, his numbers can probably regress just considering all things. And Njigba, last year he had 1,800 yards. He'll probably have near 1,300. He'll still be a great receiver, probably pretty safe, but I don't think he's a top 5 receiver this year. I'm sorry to say that, but I would just be careful in drafting him. Amon-Ra St. Brown, he's always a safe, phototypical top 8 wide receiver. 116 catches. I think that's pretty fair assessment for him this season. He's always usually around 12 yards of reception, and he's also a reception monster. 10 touchdowns seems pretty nice. 56 catches for McCaffrey definitely could be a little low. He definitely could have around 60-ish. But my fear is, like I said, they brought in Mike Evans. Brock Purdy's probably going to rely on that number one option in Evans. Pearsall is dealing with injury. Kirk is dealing with injury, but I do believe they will be ready by the start of the season. So I'm out on McCaffrey personally this year. I think if I was picking late first round, I would consider Ashton Jeanty with one of those picks. Even middle of the first round, there's not many great running backs outside of Bijan and Gibbs. So you look at Ashton Jeanty going as the 5th running back, and also Jonathan Taylor. We will talk about him. He's not a first round pick in my eyes. I just don't want to draft him as high as running back 4 in a team that gave him the ball 300 plus times last year, and he's had multiple seasons. Now, Back-to-back seasons with over 300 plus carries. It screams trap for me. RB4 is way too high. Last year I said draft him because he was going in the second round. He was the only running back on the team. And I just don't think the Colts offense is going to be that impressive this year. Yes, they were great last year, but I'm sorry, Jonathan Taylor, he'll be good, but I have him as like RB10. Like, I just don't think a top 5 running back makes sense for me. All right, let's talk about some round 1 strategy because I've seen a lot of hero RB. I think the best way you can approach this year's draft is a balanced draft class. You have a lot of fringe first-round picks that I would not care if you reached on a Genty at pick number 7. At pick number 10, you took Hampton. We just did how the first round of your fantasy draft should go on the YouTube Short, TikTok. Go check that out. But I have Hampton as the 12th pick. And I think Hampton is a very sneaky option to where Mike McDaniel is the new offensive coordinator. You saw how many targets Ashton Genty got. So I'm personally targeting a running back in the first round because there's not that many of them, right? If you look at, we'll go back to the board here, but like I said, running backs outside of Bijan and Gibbs, McCaffrey, you look at the bust rating, that scares you for sure. Genty, a lot of people are weary about what happened last year, but they improved the offensive line. They got Tyler Linderbaum, brought in Clint Kubiak, who's going to open up a lot of great running games, running lanes for him. James Cook, is that a bad pick? No, but he just led the league in rushing. Chase Brown. A lot of the running backs that you're going to have in the top 10, top 12 of fantasy this year are going to be in this top 15 range. So you can't miss on these guys. And to actually be crystal clear for a second, I think my names, Bijan Gibbs, Genty, I'm in on Hampton, Saquon, Kenneth Walker, even Jeremiah Love. A lot of people are bashing him of what's going on in camp right now. I think Love can be really good this year. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but they drafted him 3rd overall for a reason. I feel like there's a lot of controversy like around running backs in rookie camp. Maybe with Genty last year there was a lot of buzz, but I mean, just looking at what Love can do this season, do you really think Tyler Algier is talented enough to overtake that backfield? Even if he's not named the starter for week 1, he's going to take that job because of how great he is. So I don't know. Maybe there's something going on with Nathaniel Hackett. I don't know. But I feel like Love at 12 could be a steal in the second round. If he falls to the 3rd round because of what's going on in training camp, I want him that much more. But I think running back is the move in the first round unless you're unsure on like these middle names. If the first 5 are off the board, I'm in on wide receiver, and I'm targeting Justin Jefferson with my first pick, okay? He's on the thumbnail for a reason. I think he can be the wide receiver 1 this year. We're looking at Justin Jefferson going wide receiver 6. Don't trust CeeDee Lamb with George Pickens there. Drake London doesn't necessarily have a quarterback. You could argue the same thing with Jefferson, but Kyler Murray is going to have a bounce-back season. He needs to prove himself. Kevin O'Connell's a great quarterback coach, great head coach. But yeah, I think outside of Chase, Puka, Jefferson's my 3rd receiver off the board. I know that might sound kind of crazy, but if Jefferson's not there, then I will take your Gentys, your Hamptons. Let's go back for a second. Your Gentys, your Hamptons. It's a funny gap because I'll take Genty, but I won't take Cook, Brown, or Achane. Cook coming off a crazy season, the highest season of his career. Chase Brown, I'm a little bit weary of how they're going to split the time there between the 2 running backs. Also, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, they're going to spread the ball around a lot. I know he's going to catch a lot of passes, but RB7 seems a little high. I think Hampton has more upside. Saquon has more upside. Walker's got more upside. Even Love. Breece Hall down here at the 14 range. And then you also have a couple sleepers here with Cam Scatterbo and David Montgomery later. So you got to be able to pick your poison as to who do you want to go get, wide receiver or running back. If I'm picking early, get one of the top 2 running backs in Bijan and Gibbs. If both of them are gone, you can't go wrong with Chase. You can't go wrong with Puka. My personal favorite is Jefferson. I don't know if you could argue at drafting him over the other guys, but that's just what I'll say. So I think we've kind of made our point here as to how the first round should go. If you're picking last and say Jefferson, Genty, all of those guys are gone, I think Omarion Hampton is the pick. And then the second round is how, like, that turn at the end of the first round, those first 2 picks are so valuable. I would split it up. 1 wide receiver, 1 running back. Either Justin Jefferson or Puka Nacua, Jamar Chase, Amon-Ra St. Brown, one of those top safe wide receivers, and then pair them with, if Genty falls, great. I doubt it. Hampton falls, great. Saquon's going to have a bounce-back year. especially without A.J. Brown. They're going to be a run first offense. Kenneth Walker, who just got paid a massive amount of money. The only guy behind him is second-year guy Rashad Smith, who, yes, can take the receiving role, but Kenneth Walker is going to get a lot of the rushing upside. That's my only fear with Walker. I don't know how high his ceiling is with receiving. Same thing with Hampton, but I think we're all in the same realm here. The second round is loaded for running back. So that's why I say the fringe running backs that you can take, Jeanty. I don't hate him to be a first-round pick at all. He's in for a monster season. You could literally see it on the screen. 1,300 yards, 12 touchdowns. I think it's definitely fair. We saw Clint Kubiak talking about, maybe we might split it up. Obviously, he's not going to play 99% of the snaps. He's probably going to play 70. Mike Washington's going to play the other 30, but he's going to play as a bell cow in this offense. I love Jeanty. I love Hampton. Have great second-year bounce backs, especially after what was honestly underwhelming rookie seasons. Hampton because he got hurt. Jeanty because of the bad situation with the bad coach, terrible offensive line, and that's it. Put James Cook, Pickens, Hampton, and HN on here. I'm out on HN. Pickens is weird just because last year he was going round 6. This year, another crazy big offense with CD. I wouldn't take CD, Pickens. I have a very strict regimen as to who I'm drafting in round 1, and it's Justin Jefferson I'm eyeing up in the middle rounds. If I'm picking 101, Bijan or Gibbs. And then late first round, if Jefferson goes, I'm all in on Jeanty. I'm all in on Hampton. Second round, I love Saquon as well and Kenneth Walker. So if you can get one of those two guys and draft an elite wide receiver, Amon-Ra St. Brown. So this is one of the things you just got to start thinking about in terms of how do you want your draft to play out. Because there's a lot of things that can happen, but I think there's a lot of teams that there's not necessarily great running backs later, right? Outside of Cam Scatterbo, David Montgomery, there's not many running backs later. So you have to get at least one running back early and one wide receiver early, because even late wide receivers, Emeka Egbuka, third round, I love, but this is going a little past the first round into the second round. I think third round is enough for this video. But thank you everyone so much for watching. This is how the first round should go. Just trying to give a little bit of clarity to the audience in terms of you guys, in terms of how you should just process going about the first round in NFL draft. So thanks for watching. It's been Mike Zanetti on the Big Z Breakdown. Go ahead and check out another video for me, and we'll see you in the next episode.